my name's Simon. This is my first video that I'm doing. The purpose of doing this video really is to talk about my experience during my aortic valve replacement I've got coming up. So I'm about 4 days out. Woke up this morning believing I was 7 days out, but I got bumped a bit sooner, which is good and bad as well. The last few months kind of researching all about aortic valve replacement, about the condition, about the operation. Found a lot of really useful videos on YouTube, which were fantastic. It really helped me understand the condition, understand what the operation's about, understand what's to come. So I kind of wanted to do something similar, give something back. Hopefully it will be useful. You know, if it inspires, you know, a few other people, or kind of shows you it's not that bad, hopefully. Haven't had the operation yet. So yeah, Monday I'm due to go in about 2 o'clock to the ROYALBROMPTON here in the UK, that's in London. Operation's due on the Tuesday, not sure what time yet, and it's to have my aortic valve replaced. So I've had aortic valve regurgitation for, I'd say, about 17 years that I've known of. Prior to that, I had aortic stenosis that was operated on back in 1997 at the Harefield Hospital in the UK. That stenosis was removed, and on the regular checkups annually that occurred was when they found the regurgitation issue with the aortic valve. It's been monitored, like I say, for 17 years. Hasn't really been an issue. They've kept an eye on it. I thought maybe it was becoming an issue back in 2015. I was a bit limited, or I thought I was, so I went for an MRI, updated MRI, echo and fitness test or stress test on a treadmill, and pretty good. Clean bill of health, absolutely everything fine, no issues there. So that kind of spurred me on a bit more. I didn't really have any limitations, and probably 2016 was the fittest I've been. You know, I was working out 7 times a week, pretty much every day, sometimes double gym sessions, weightlifting, playing hockey, other cardio, generally really active. So no issues there. And then perhaps a couple of years after, bought first house, moved away from hometown, and didn't focus too much on working out, fitness, whatever. Still worked out, but not probably as much as I did. And that was probably the first signs of my condition worsening. But because I wasn't working out as much, I just put it down to it was because I, you know, wasn't working out, rather than the actual condition worsening. Due to moving house as well, I actually missed an appointment in 2017. The letter went to the wrong address, and then by the time I'd realised, got a new appointment, that wasn't scheduled until May 2019. So quite a big gap between checkups. And it was actually at that checkup in May 2019 where the consultant for the first time really said, you know, we're at that stage now. Within the next few months, we recommend that you have this operated on. And she spoke over the different options, so the tissue valve, the mechanical valve, and the implications that come with that, reoperation for tissue, or anticoagulation medication, so warfarin in the UK with mechanical valve, or Coumadin as it's known in the States. So yeah, that was kind of a bit of a bombshell in May. I had to have some updated MRIs, fitness test, to collate the full picture to present to the MDT. That took quite a while, if I'm honest, longer than I wanted it to, and longer than it probably should have done. There were some issues with the hospital. They were, I think, they're rebuilding the imaging wing at the ROYALBROMPTON, so there was a backlog. But you know, all said and done, it did take quite a while before my case was actually on the MDT list, but then was actually discussed with the other consultants and surgeons and specialists that sit on that MDT. So I'm kind of at that stage now. You know, I've got my date. It's going to be Tuesday, the 18th. The option I've gone with is the mechanical valve. Um, Various decisions, you know, various reasons behind that decision. One of them, obviously, around I don't necessarily want to have another open heart surgery. This would be my second, first in 1997, so 23 years ago. I don't want to have to go through it again in 10 years time, potentially 15, because I'm not going to be certain what sort of condition I'm going to be in. I'm not preempting any illnesses or anything, but I'm pretty fit, pretty healthy now. I'm hopeful that I can get through the operation, but you know, I don't want to take that gamble over and over again, and the stress of open heart surgery. But also, it's the deterioration I found the hardest for me. You know, you might notice slightly out of breath talking. That's a big issue. I had to give up sport. I used to lift weights. I used to play hockey. I used to run. I used to do all of these different activities. And slowly throughout last year, that was diminished. And now I can't even walk or talk without getting out of breath. So I didn't necessarily want to go through that again, go through that decline, and going through the issues, if I could say that, of having echoes and ECGs and MRIs and chasing consultants and chasing up medical secretaries just to get things moving. So that was my decision. Maybe I'll talk in another video about the pros and cons that I'm aware of. I don't really want to be preaching. I'm just going to talk about my decisions and what I made. One of the other decisions I made was around, say, the longevity of the valve. I've got a mechanical background, you know, so I was an engineering apprentice when I left school. So that has pretty much driven my decision as well. Maybe I trust a man-made mechanical valve over a man-made tissue valve, but we'll see on that. So my decision was that it'll be interesting to see how I cope, adapt with the mechanical valve, mainly around the use of warfarin, how that's going to affect me, affects my lifestyle. Seen lots and lots of videos on here, read a lot of articles about how people have coped on warfarin or Coumadin, and how actually it's not too bad when it's managed quite well. So I've taken quite a lot of solace from those videos. So again, thanks to all of you guys, if any of you are watching that have done one of those videos, you know, thanks for doing that. For me, probably the last 9 months of my health deteriorating, I haven't actually drunk that much alcohol. I probably have 3 or 4 beers and feel like I've had an absolute session. I wake up feeling horrendous the next day. And because of that, I've just naturally drunk less and less. So that aspect I don't think is going to bother me. And because I've always been very regimented and strict with my health and fitness, when I'm in the groove, I find it very easy to stick to a diet plan. I've tried quite a few different techniques, fasting diet, keto, caveman, etc. So I'm fairly comfortable that I'll be able to find a level within the INR range that I need to be at, eating what I need to eat, and be able to manage that. But that's the optimism coming through now, and that might not be the case in a few months' time. A few of the other concerns with the mechanical valve, the ticking. I've heard about the ticking, that's potentially a concern, but you know, certainly for me, with my bounding heart rate, that's been quite loud, if I say that, for the last 4 or 5 months. So I just imagine it's going to be pretty similar to that, really. And obviously there is the risk of being on anticoagulation medication, of bleeding, and with mechanical valve there is still that risk of clotting as well, which could occur. So There are those risks. I decided to go for that, so I'm kind of hoping it was the right decision. So my surgeon was very much left it up to me. He gave me the options, um, told me a bit of information about each procedure, but pretty much left it up to me. So I say Operation Tuesday, I go in Monday, so I'm going to try and do some videos. They probably won't be up live. I'll probably try and edit them or do something with them. But certainly try and track the progress I'm making, certainly in the recovery stage as well. Kind of looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the recovery. I'm looking forward to trying to get to some sort of level of fitness that I've had before. Because that's been a real big frustration for me over the last few months, just not being able to do what I used to be able to do. Like I say, religiously used to always work out. It used to be part of my therapy. I used to have a bad day at work and be able to just go and lift some heavy weights, listen to some loud music, and the world was a better place afterwards. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Sport-wise, I think I mentioned I had to give up playing hockey, probably October time. The reality is, I wasn't ready for the season. There was no way I should have been playing. I kind of pushed myself thinking, I hadn't heard from the MDT. I hadn't been told I'm definitely having an operation, so maybe it's not that bad. And there was a few things happening in games, and the final game for me, every time I was trying to run, I felt like I was going to pass out. I was getting what doctors call pre-syncope, so almost fainting, but not quite. Just generally being out of breath. So I walked away from that, and gradually everything else afterwards. So hockey, depending on what website you look at, who you speak to, is either on the list or not on the list of banned, restricted sports to play on warfarin. Hockey technically isn't a contact sport, but you play in the lower leagues, like I play. It tends to be contact. And for those of you, if you're watching it, who know me, know the way I play. Very much head down, think about the consequences afterwards. So it's a decision I'm going to have to make when I've recovered. How do I feel? So touch wood. 12 years I've played and I've only been hit in the head once, and a few other cuts and bruises, but obviously that'll be a lot worse on warfarin. So I might have to adapt the way I play. I might have to adapt the level of which I play, or worst case scenario, kind of walk away from playing that sort of sport, but trying to be actively involved, maybe through coaching or umpiring. So that's a decision to make. So yeah, really kind of a bit nervous, talking about feelings ahead of this. I thought I'd kind of made peace with the procedure, but now it's getting closer. It's getting a bit real. But in reality, how much am I going to know about it after the anaesthetic and waking up in the ICU, and just the recovery? So yeah, I think having the wait time shortened dramatically is going to be a good thing. I'm hoping I won't have much time to think about it. I've got this weekend to kind of pack a bag, really, get ready. We've got 2 dogs, so I've got to figure out what we're going to do with those 2 dogs while I'm in hospital, and my wife's kind of back and forth. So we need to figure out that. I've got a whole tank of fish as well. So all these little issues we've got to try and plan for. So yeah, busy weekend ahead. Kind of planning, thinking of what I'm going to do. I've just spent a fortune. Of those of you that know the UK rail network, I've just spent a fortune on a season ticket for the year, so I'm going to have to try and claim my money back for that. So that'll be interesting. Trying to do that this week. So yeah, just bit of admin, bit of packing bags, bit of mentally preparing myself for the procedure. I'm fairly confident I know what's coming. Like I said, I've seen most of your videos, which is fantastic. For those of you UK based, I'm not sure if other people will get it, but we've got a TV channel over here called Channel 5, and they've got a series. I don't know if it's Operation Live or Inside the Operating Theatre or something like that. But anyway, they're on their second season. First episode was an aortic valve replacement. Can't remember what the guy had. I don't know if it was mechanical or tissue, but it was pretty much the whole procedure from him going in the operating theatre to them closing him up. So that was really good. For me, I'm a bit of a curious learner, if you want. I want to know what's happening. I want to know the ins and outs of the procedure. I've watched it twice. My wife's only watched it once, funnily enough. So yeah, kind of pretty confident. I know what's coming and what's happening. You know, nothing can really prepare you for open heart surgery, but you know, try my best to be prepared. In terms of trying to pass the time, back in 1997, when I had my first operation, I had a big box TV that was wheeled in into the ICU and into my side ward. So at least in this day and age, I've got smartphones, so Netflix, Amazon Prime, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, everything else, bit of Spotify music as well. So hopefully I'm a bit better prepared for the entertainment side of it. Not that I'm expecting to be doing much other than resting, recovering and sleeping. So yeah, be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of days. I might do another video over the weekend if I've got any other thoughts, but potentially try and get one in on Monday or Tuesday morning pre-op. I'll try and get my wife to film me in the ICU and doing some of the rehab stuff. I'll try and do some videos as well. And then the key for me is just really filming pretty much as I can when I get back home. Trying to do as much of that recovery. Trying to show you guys what I'm eating, what I'm doing. So hopefully it kind of inspires you. So for now, I'll leave it there. For first stab at a YouTube video. Let's see how it turns out. But yeah, hopefully you'll see another video up, and we'll go from there.